In a significant shift in U.S. foreign policy, the Biden administration is set to withdraw from the International Center for the Prosecution of the Crime of Aggression against Ukraine, a multinational coalition established to investigate accountability for Russia's invasion of Ukraine. This decision, communicated to European officials via a letter from the Justice Department, marks a departure from the previous administration's commitment to holding Russian President Vladimir Putin accountable for alleged war crimes. The announcement is set to be made public on March 17, 2025, and comes as the Trump administration pivots away from former President Joe Biden's strategies regarding accountability for Russian aggression. The center, which the Biden administration joined in 2023, was formed to facilitate the prosecution of leaders responsible for acts of aggression that violate international law and compromise national sovereignty. Michael Schmid, President of Eurojust, the European Union Agency for Criminal Justice Cooperation and the parent organization of the center, confirmed in an internal letter that U.S. authorities had informed him of their decision to conclude involvement by the end of the month. He acknowledged the group's ongoing commitment to prosecuting core international crimes in Ukraine despite the U.S. withdrawal. The center was unique in its composition, being the first to include a senior U.S. prosecutor stationed in The Hague to collaborate with investigators from Ukraine, the Baltic states, Poland, Romania, and the International Criminal Court. The U.S. Justice Department had previously emphasized its dedication to the War Crimes Accountability Team WARCAT, established in 2022 to coordinate efforts to hold Russians accountable for atrocities committed in Ukraine. During the Biden-era, WARCAT provided crucial support to Ukrainian authorities in their prosecution of war crimes, offering training and logistical assistance. Notably, in December 2023, the team successfully charged 4 Russian soldiers with war crimes for torturing an American citizen in Ukraine. However, the tone has shifted under Trump, who has recently made statements suggesting a rapprochement with Putin while expressing skepticism about the Ukrainian leadership. In a controversial February exchange, Trump implied that Ukraine had provoked Russia's military actions and criticized President Volodymyr Zelensky's leadership. The rationale behind the withdrawal, as explained by unnamed sources, centers on the need for a redeployment of resources, mirroring similar justifications for other policy changes. Critics, however, view this move as indicative of a broader trend to lessen accountability for war crimes amidst a growing alignment with Russian interests. As the international community watches closely, this withdrawal raises questions about the future of accountability for war crimes in the ongoing conflict and the U.S. role in supporting legal actions against those responsible for the invasion. The implications of this decision may resonate far beyond Ukraine, affecting international norms around accountability and justice as global leaders reassess their positions in the face of shifting political landscapes. Looking ahead, the potential ramifications of this policy shift could influence both the course of the conflict in Ukraine and the global response to aggression by state actors. As the situation continues to evolve, the need for robust international mechanisms to uphold justice remains critical. In a notable turn of events, former President Donald Trump is set to tour the Kennedy Center and preside over a board meeting, following a recent shakeup within the institution's leadership. This visit comes as both a strategic move and a personal engagement with the arts community, underscoring Trump's evolving role in cultural discussions post-presidency. The Kennedy Center, a pillar of American arts and culture, has faced scrutiny and changes that have prompted Trump's intervention, highlighting the complex relationship between politics and the arts. Trump's planned visit to the Kennedy Center follows a series of leadership changes that have left the institution at a crossroads. The shakeup has raised questions about the future direction of the center, which has long served as a symbol of cultural prestige. Trump's involvement signals an intent to stabilize the board and ensure the continuation of the center's mission amid these upheavals. As Trump prepares to meet with board members, insiders suggest that his approach will focus on revitalizing the center's programming and funding strategies, which have come under pressure in recent years. In conjunction with his engagement at the Kennedy Center, Trump has also been vocal about his vision for the U.S. economy, albeit with mixed clarity. His recent remarks suggest a desire to implement significant economic reforms, yet critics argue that he has not effectively communicated the specifics of his plans. While the ambition is clear, the details remain murky, a political analyst noted, emphasizing the need for a more concrete roadmap to accompany his proposals. The former president's economic agenda appears to be a blend of traditional conservative policies and ambitious new initiatives aimed at revitalizing industry and job creation. Interestingly, Trump's historical relationship with the Republican Party in Virginia offers a contrasting narrative to his current political positioning. Once seen as a liability for GOP candidates in the state, he is now being embraced as an asset. Recent polling indicates that many Virginia voters have shifted their perceptions, increasingly viewing Trump as a unifying figure for the party. Trump's ability to galvanize the base cannot be understated, remarked one GOP strategist, suggesting that his influence could play a crucial role in upcoming elections. As Trump continues to navigate these complex landscapes, balancing his role in arts and culture with his economic ambitions, his actions will likely ripple through both the political and cultural spheres. Observers are keenly watching how his engagement at the Kennedy Center will unfold, as well as how his economic proposals will evolve into actionable policies. The coming months will undoubtedly reveal the full impact of Trump's endeavors, shaping discussions around both the arts and the broader economic landscape in America. In a rapidly evolving business landscape, companies are continually adapting their strategies to meet shifting market demands and regulatory pressures. Recent developments have illuminated this dynamic, showcasing both the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead for various sectors. From retail sales to pharmaceutical innovations and banking regulations, the latest updates provide a comprehensive picture of where industries stand as of mid-March 2025. Retail sales in the United States experienced a modest increase of 0.2% in February, according to recent data from the Commerce Department. This slight uptick suggests a slow but steady recovery in consumer spending, a crucial driver of economic growth. Analysts note that while the increase is modest, it may signal a stabilization following a period of volatility. Consumer confidence appears to be holding steady, which is a positive sign for the economy, said an unnamed economist. However, the overall retail environment remains challenging, with inflationary pressures and evolving consumer preferences influencing purchasing behaviors. In the pharmaceutical sector, Pfizer is implementing a new strategic playbook aimed at reviving its sales after a series of setbacks. The company has shifted its focus towards expanding its product portfolio and enhancing its marketing efforts, particularly in the wake of declining revenues from its COVID-19 vaccine. "We're looking at ways to diversify our offerings and tap into new markets," said a Pfizer spokesperson. Early signs indicate that these strategies are starting to pay off, with increased interest in its pipeline of treatments for various ailments. Analysts are cautiously optimistic, suggesting that this pivot could bolster Pfizer's position in an increasingly competitive pharmaceutical landscape. Meanwhile, in the financial services sector, Bank of America has decided to tighten oversight of junior bankers' working hours in response to ongoing concerns about employee burnout and work-life balance. This decision reflects a broader trend within the industry as firms grapple with the demands placed on their junior staff, often leading to long hours and high turnover rates. "It's essential to foster a healthier work environment to retain talent," a senior executive at the bank remarked. By implementing stricter hour regulations, Bank of America aims to create a more sustainable and supportive workplace culture, potentially setting a precedent for other institutions in the industry. As these developments unfold, they highlight the interconnectedness of various sectors and the importance of adaptability in today's market. Retailers are cautiously optimistic about consumer spending trends, while pharmaceutical firms like Pfizer are re-evaluating their strategies to maintain competitiveness. The banking sector's focus on employee welfare reflects a growing recognition of the need for a balanced approach to workforce management. Looking ahead, businesses will need to remain vigilant and responsive to ongoing economic challenges, including fluctuating consumer demands, regulatory pressures, and the relentless pace of technological advancement. As companies continue to navigate these complexities, their ability to innovate and adapt will be crucial in determining their success in an ever-changing marketplace. The coming months will undoubtedly bring further insights into how these sectors evolve and respond to the challenges that lie ahead. Investors are increasingly eyeing opportunities in Russian assets as the geopolitical landscape shifts. Particularly in light of former President Donald Trump's pursuit of rapprochement with Russia amid ongoing tensions surrounding the Ukraine conflict. The Russian ruble has gained nearly a third against the dollar this year, fueled by speculation that a potential easing of U.S. sanctions could lead to a resurgence of capital flowing back into the Russian economy. As traders anticipate a possible thaw in relations, hedge funds and brokers are exploring ways to navigate the sanctions that have isolated Russian financial markets since the full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022. Many investors are cautiously optimistic, believing that Trump's upcoming call with Russian President Vladimir Putin could set the stage for a ceasefire and subsequently a rollback of sanctions. Some of Trump's rhetoric about Russia is erratic, and this is something you have to factor in, but this is about the lifting of sanctions, noted Paul McNamara, investment director at GAM. Despite the cautious optimism, the reality for Western investors remains complex. Sanctions have rendered direct investments in Russian sovereign debt nearly impossible, and corporate bonds, once seen as nearly worthless, are beginning to attract interest again. However, trading in rubles is still largely restricted, with international trading volumes barely reaching $50 million a week, a stark contrast to the billions exchanged prior to the conflict. For those looking to capitalize on the potential recovery, some traders are utilizing Kazakhstan's tenge as a proxy for the ruble, resulting in a modest increase in trading volumes. The tenge has appreciated approximately 5% against the dollar this year, but significant trades in rubles remain elusive. As Roger Mark, a fixed-income analyst at 91, pointed out, you are talking a quarter of Kazakhstan's liquidity in ruble trading, so it is tiny. To circumvent direct exposure to Russian assets, some banks are offering non-deliverable forwards (NDFs) on the ruble, which allow investors to speculate on the currency's movements without holding it directly. Luis Costa, global head of emerging market strategy at Citi, indicated that interest in these instruments has grown as discussions of sanctions relief gain traction. For sure, there is more interest in the NDFs recently, and the banks have started quoting more actively, Costa stated. The dynamics of Russian capital markets are shifting, with many investors looking ahead to a potential reversal of capital flight as Russians who left the country during the mobilization crisis may return with savings from abroad. However, this optimism is tempered by substantial risks, including the possibility of heightened sanctions if negotiations falter. If Moscow rejects the ceasefire terms, the U.S. could tighten sanctions further, Mark cautioned. The recent rise of the ruble has also impacted the valuations of previously stranded Russian bonds in foreign investors' portfolios. While some investors are eager to gauge the potential implications of lifted sanctions, the restrictions imposed by the Central Bank of Russia continue to limit foreign exposure. Direct exposure to the Russian market will be limited for the time being for Western investors due to the restrictions of the Central Bank of Russia, remarked a fund manager based outside the West. In summary, the intersection of political maneuvering and financial speculation presents a compelling yet precarious opportunity for investors looking to engage with Russian markets. As discussions between Trump and Putin unfold, the potential for sanctions relief could reshape the landscape, but with considerable risks that investors must navigate. The coming months will be critical in determining whether a genuine thaw in U.S.-Russia relations will materialize, and whether it will translate into tangible economic benefits for a beleaguered Russian economy. In a stark assessment of Europe's political landscape, a recent report has identified Italy as one of 5 nations contributing to what researchers are calling a democratic recession across the continent. The Civil Liberties Union for Europe Liberties outlines how Italy under the leadership of Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni has enacted measures that significantly undermine the rule of law and civil liberties. This alarming trend is mirrored in Bulgaria, Croatia, Romania and Slovakia, all labeled as dismantlers of democratic principles. The report, which brings together insights from 43 human rights organizations across 21 EU member states, asserts that Italy's governance has reached a point where political control over the judiciary is increasingly evident. Meloni's administration has been criticized for drafting proposals aimed at granting open-ended powers to the Justice Ministry, thereby tightening political control over prosecutorial functions. Such changes, the report warns, threaten to erode judicial independence, a cornerstone of democracy. Moreover, the report highlights a disturbing trend of intolerance towards media criticism in Italy, suggesting that the government's response to dissenting voices has grown increasingly hostile. The heavy intolerance to media criticism is emblematic of a broader issue facing Europe, said Victor Kazai, a senior rule of law expert at Liberties. He emphasized the urgent need for decisive action to counter the erosion of democratic norms, warning that the EU risks further democratic deterioration without intervention. In Hungary, classified as an electoral autocracy, the situation is similarly alarming. The report notes that the Hungarian government has intensified pressure on non-governmental organizations and media following the establishment of a sovereignty protection office with wide-ranging investigatory powers. This has led to significant regressions in the rule of law, further compounding the challenges to democracy in the region. The report also details concerning developments in Bulgaria, where anti-corruption investigations are being wielded as political tools against opponents while systemic issues persist unaddressed. In Slovakia, new legislative changes, including the abolition of the Central Prosecutor's Office, raise grave concerns about the integrity of democratic institutions. Croatia's judiciary faces similar threats, compounded by the appointment of individuals with close ties to the ruling party, which undermines the independence of legal processes. Romania too is grappling with challenges, as recent elections have seen the rise of ultranationalist candidates, illustrating a shift in the political landscape that could further complicate efforts to uphold democratic values. The report underscores that even established democracies, including France and Germany, are not immune to these trends. France's increased use of legislative procedures to bypass parliamentary scrutiny and Germany's disproportionate responses to protests raise significant questions about civil liberties and democratic governance. In Poland, however, a glimmer of hope emerges as the newly formed coalition government seeks to reverse the previous administration's assaults on judicial independence and media pluralism. Yet this effort is fraught with challenges, as the complexities of dismantling compromised institutions and navigating political opposition loom large. Liberties has called upon the European Commission to enhance its monitoring mechanisms by linking them to the disbursement of EU funds, thereby holding member states accountable for their adherence to democratic norms. The need for a robust response to the ongoing democratic erosion in Europe has never been more critical. As these nations navigate their paths, the stakes for civil liberties and the rule of law remain high. With the future of democracy in Europe hanging in the balance, in a captivating blend of art and urban experience, Nick Cave's installation at the Times Square subway station continues to catch the attention of commuters and art enthusiasts alike. Since its installation in 2022, Cave's distinctive soundsuits crafted from mosaic glass have transformed a mundane transit space into a vibrant display that challenges the perception of everyday environments. The installation, which stretches along the wall by the shuttle platform, has been praised for its striking visual appeal, appearing almost like fur from a distance before revealing its intricate craftsmanship up close. During a recent visit to the station, a curious observer stumbled upon additional murals tucked away in a less traveled corridor, underscoring the hidden artistic treasures that New York's transit system holds. These artworks, also part of Cave's 2022 collection, invite the public to explore and appreciate art in unexpected places. This experience of discovering art in transit echoes a broader cultural narrative, the importance of integrating artistic expression into daily life, especially in a bustling metropolis like New York City. Further enriching the experience, Nick Cave's work is also featured in an ongoing exhibition at the Jack Scheinman Gallery on Lafayette Street, showcasing his unique ability to merge performance art with visual aesthetics. The juxtaposition of the subway installation and the gallery exhibition provides a comprehensive view of Cave's artistic vision, further inviting dialogue about the role of public art in contemporary society. As urban spaces evolve, the integration of art into public infrastructure serves not only to beautify but also to foster community engagement and cultural conversation. Cave's installations are a testament to the potential of art to enhance public spaces, inviting passers-by to pause, reflect and engage with their environment in new ways. The continued presence of such installations in high-traffic areas like Times Square signals a promising trend toward making art accessible and relevant to all. Looking ahead, the impact of art in public spaces raises important questions about the future of urban design and cultural policy. As cities grapple with post-pandemic recovery, the role of art in revitalizing communities and enhancing public life will undoubtedly remain a focal point for artists, urban planners, and policymakers alike. The ongoing dialogue surrounding installations like Nick Cave's will be essential in shaping how we envision and experience our public spaces in the years to come.